Good evening, everybody. Try that again. Good evening, everyone. Great, thank you. Welcome. We'd like to welcome you back to the campus. It's good to get these community meetings back up and running. I have parking passes for everybody, so make sure you grab me to get your parking pass. Please help yourself to some refreshments in the back. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the Chancellor, Marcelo Suarez Orozco.
Thank you, Phil. And of course, he's our Director of Community Relations. I also want to acknowledge the University Events Office for coordinating tonight's program and for bringing us together. To all our guests, welcome. Welcome to UMass Boston. Let me say it in Spanish. Mi casa es su casa. UMass Boston es su casa. I am so grateful that you're here with us. And I know many of you are coming back to the campus after that wicked years of COVID. And many of you don't know me. So I want to say a little bit about myself. My name is Marcelo Suarez Orozco. And I have the great honor, the great responsibility, the privilege of a lifetime to serve as Boston's only public research university's chancellor. It's wonderful to see all of you here tonight, and thanks to all of you for your presence and for your engagement this evening. We hope that this is an informative and good conversation to exchange ideas and to forge deeper relations with our communities. I also want to recognize members of my leadership team from whom you'll hear later in the program. Kathleen Curlis, our Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Joe Berger, our Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dennis Swinfer, our Director of Campus Planning and Sustainability. Since I'm meeting many of you for the first time, since I became Chancellor in August 2020, the timing is perfect. You can't find a better day than August 2020. This is when we're washing everything with Clorox. I'm going to get, my life is going to be shortened, not because of COVID. It's going to be shortened because of all the Clorox I've injected over those 2 years. Let me share a little bit about my journey here prior to coming to Columbia Point. Just before being named Chancellor, I served for nearly a decade as the Wasserman Dean of UCLA's oldest and highest ranked school, the Graduate School of Education and Information Sciences. I've also served as a tenure professor across the river at Harvard University and at New York University. And I've been around the block. I have white hair. I spent time at a number of major universities, both in our country and overseas. Princeton, Stanford, Paris, Leuven, where the great Gregor Mendel discovered genetics. He didn't know what he had discovered. That's the Catholic University of Leuven. And the University of Barcelona, when I was a visiting professor. And I tell you all of this with a great humility, because none of these places compares to my current responsibility here at UMass Boston. This is the job that I've spent my entire life preparing for. Ever since I came to our country over 50 years ago from Latin America, escaping the fascist generals in Argentina by myself, alone, with nothing, no English, nothing. I went to night school I obviously went to work before enrolling as an undergraduate student at the other great public university in our country, the University of California system. I went to community college. I did every job at the university. I swept floors. I painted. I can tell you how long it takes to paint this room. I can tell you the job cutting the corners and how long it will take to do this beautiful hall here. So to me, I feel incredibly fortunate to have served in the classroom and in various administrative roles. But I've not forgotten my roots. I'm an anthropologist by training. I founded the Harvard Immigration Projects, which now my wife of 48 years has a unique responsibility of leading across the river. We undertook across the river the largest study of its kind, studying the lives of our immigrant families. Immigrant families coming from the Afro-Caribbean basin, immigrant families coming from Latin America, immigrant families coming from Asia. And the current demographic trends tell us a very powerful story about our city, our history, our destiny. The only segment of our population that is growing today are immigrant children and youth growing up in immigrant origin families. Over 80% of all the growth in the Commonwealth will come from that demographic. At a time when the country, the Commonwealth, is facing a demographic cliff, we in the Commonwealth, we in Boston, have this extraordinary opportunity and extraordinary reality. This is what has gone into making UMass Boston the most diverse campus in New England, the third most diverse campus in our country. So many of our beacons are, like me, first-generation students. They're first in their families to go to college, often from immigrant origin families. And I will tell you that they're incredible students. They are the best students I've ever taught. They are smart, they're ambitious, they're hardworking, they're creative. They have a gratitude for the extraordinary opportunities this public research university affords them. They are what makes us unique in the ecology of higher education in our city, and I say in our country. Our students are at the heart of what makes UMass Boston a unique public research university. And here is the most important statistic you need to know. 5 years after graduation, over 80% of our beacons will be working in the city of Boston, the peninsula, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That is unique. That is unique. Our students remain. They are the future of our state. They remain with us. So, as I've told Governor Baker, as I've told Governor Healy, as I told Mayor Walsh, Mayor Wu, basically anybody that would listen to me, there is no happy future for the Commonwealth without a happy future for the students we serve. In Boston, this is our history, it's our destiny. We're a city that has written the record for democracy, for freedom, in fundamental ways by succeeding waves of immigration. Some voluntary, some involuntary. But that's the history and that's the destiny of our commonwealth of our city. We are a university at the very foundations that is of and for the city of Boston. You can take half a dozen, 2 dozens of the universities around here. You can move them to rural Idaho. They'll be the same university. Not the case for us. The synergies between the city and our communities are what makes us unique. We are the only public research university. We're committed to working with the city and with the state, with Mayor Wu and with Governor Healy and their respective administrations. And we are ready. We're ready to serve, to get the Commonwealth, to get the city of Boston in front of the defining challenges of our times. Unchecked climate change, health disparities, the invasion of racialized inequality into every domain of our economy and society. The biggest threat to the practice of democratic citizenship in our country today is inequality. In our country, inequality is always racialized. When I think of how UMass Boston can become indispensable, part of the algorithm to the public policy landscape of our city, we are ready to address the challenges of our times. And let me quote the great wisdom, thousands of years old, of Hillel the Elder. If not us, who? If not now, when? UMass Boston's is ready to face the future. Wide open. Our strategic plan for the times was released last year. It's a new 10-year strategic plan under the able leadership of our provost and so many committees. That plan will advance our mission of becoming a leading health-promoting, anti-racist institution dedicated to student success, to community engagement. It is, I believe, a plan that embodies our belief in diversity as a fundamental cornerstone of knowledge creation. Diversity and excellence, in my book, are two sides of the same coin. That's our commitment to impactful research, to serve the public good. Our provost, Joe Berger, will share more about the new strategic plan in our program this evening. Strategic engagement with leaders in the Commonwealth. That continues to be my priority. We continue to strengthen our partnerships with the city, with the state, with federal leaders, a reflection of their growing interest in UMass Boston's academic programs as they relate to and inform the policy priorities of our governmental leadership. Senator Elizabeth Warren chose UMass Boston as her only Massachusetts commencement venue last May. The great Congressman Stephen Lynch recently secured a major congressional appropriation for UMass Boston to build the Commonwealth's first ever nursing digital home care simulation lab. That's the future of nursing. Governor Healy chose UMass Boston to host her most recent statewide conversation on ensuring equitable opportunities in higher education in light of the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action. She chose UMass Boston as her venue. We continue to work with Mayor Wu, Boston Public Schools Superintendent Mary Skipper, and Secretary of Education Patrick Tatweiler on creating pathways for K-12 students in Boston to attend UMass Boston, particularly with BCLA McCormack and the DEVA school in our own neighborhood. And I have formed a very close working relationship with our local legislatures. Councilor Frank Baker is here with us. Thank you, Frank, for your 6 terms of service. 6 terms of service. Representative Don Hunt, Senator Nick Collins, and so many others. And I look forward to developing a very, very strong and meaningful, forward-looking partnership with Mr. Fitzgerald. So good to see you, man. Thank you for coming. I didn't see you. Beautiful, beautiful. Mi casa es su casa. We got to work on that one. Philanthropic success. I am so pleased to share that we continue to make enormous progress on the fundraising front. In fiscal year 2023, UMass Boston secured over $37 million in philanthropic gifts, our second highest total ever, following the previous year, 2022, with a record-shattering $40.6 million in total philanthropic gifts. These results were propelled by a record 8 new commitments of $1 million+ including a $10 million pledge from Massachusetts General Brigham to create new pathways for the Manning College of Nursing students, a transformational $4 million commitment from alumnus Paul English, the great Paul English, to establish the first in its kind in our nation, the Paul English Institute for Applied Artificial Intelligence. A transformational multi-million-dollar gift from Bob and Diane Hildreth to endow the extraordinary directorship of our Gaston Institute. The external support we continue to receive reflects the extraordinary energy, the excitement, the quality, the excellence that we embody, investing in UMass Boston's future, now and moving forward, is taking us to a new level of relevance and excellence as the fundamental institution in the peninsula and in the city of Boston. Dorchester Bay City update. In a win for Dorchester, for Boston, and for UMass Boston, the Boston Planning and Development, BPDA, voted to approve zoning for the Dorchester Bay City project at a BPDA meeting last month. The successful vote is just a green light. It's a green light for next steps in a mixed-use development that promises to further revitalize Columbia Point, advance our shared vision of smart, sustainable growth, and generate broad economic benefits for our community. As I noted in an op-ed piece published in the Dorchester Reporter last month, a big part of this news is the purposeful alignment around and insistence on equity of opportunity and quality of life for residents and for all our stakeholders, above all for our students. We look forward to providing further updates on Dorchester Bay City development in the months ahead. Make no mistake, this is an equity endeavor. Our students will have access to 22nd century laboratories for research and development that students across the river take for granted. This is an equity initiative. UMass Boston, your community partner. Let me offer perspective on higher education. At its core, college is where young people and not so young people, and often in many cases, begin to explore the world, to acquire knowledge, to learn more about themselves, all essential for preparing them for careers of purpose and for life. Plato put it best: know yourself in order to serve. Know yourself in order to serve. We need serving. At UMass Boston, our job is to provide our students with what they need to make the most of their time in college. This means many things: ensuring that they have professors and mentors who are engaged day in and day out in their success. We challenge our students to find what they love. We encourage them to learn from the diverse life experiences of their peers, helping them grow in confidence as students, as people, as moral citizens, as members of the human family. And it also means creating opportunities for engagement with community partners to the work for the greater good. 100 years of research in what we now call cognitive neuroscience articulates a basic lesson, a basic truth. Learning is fundamentally a relational endeavor. Academic supports from many directions can make and does make a profound difference. It propels students to lives of purpose, to lives of relevance, to lives to take on the defining issues of our times. Tonight's meeting is an opportunity to explore ways that members of the UMass Boston community can learn from our civic associations, nonprofit organizations, business and community leaders. Together with groups like Work Inc., the Lewis D. Brown Peace Institute, and the Old Dorchester Sports League, we can advance, and we do advance, a shared vision of what it means to build a community that serves the greater social, economic, and cultural interests of all our members, sustainably, equitably. Thank you again for joining us today. Now it is my privilege to introduce our next speaker, who will give us a series of short presentations. But before I turn the program over to our Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Kathleen Curlis, I encourage you all to come back, visit the campus during the day, the most beautiful campus in the United States. When we're done with the quad, this will be the most beautiful campus in our country. So, thank you. Muchas gracias. Mi casa es su casa. I want to see each and every one of you. And we will inaugurate the new campus, the new quad, in April. You're all going to have an invite for that. Now I turn it over to our Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Kathleen.
Thank you, Chancellor Suarez-Orozco. Let's see here a minute. Okay. All right. Let's be moving right along here. Okay. So my name is Kathleen Curlis. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance here at UMass Boston. Thank you all for coming out today. And I have some updates for you about some various activities that have been going on in campus that we think might be of interest. So on our capital projects, as the Chancellor mentioned, we've been busy underway since COVID. Really, we've got a robust capital plan of improvements on our campus. So we've got the quad project. We also been really focusing on deferred maintenance. So many of you who have been around the campus for years and years, you'll see some investments in some of our well-loved buildings going back to the origins of our campus, as well as having new buildings that have been being built. We're working on some compliance and safety issues, and we've got a large support from our campus as well as the Commonwealth and the federal government. As the chancellor mentioned, Dorchester Bay City was permitted in September, so they're working on their environmental projects, and we look forward to, for the campus, and is this the equity for our students. But one of the questions that might be of interest is, what's the campus? This is also financial proceeds for this for our campus. There's three major things how our campus will benefit from it financially. First is the Bayside parking lot. We owe debt on the parking lot. We're going to pay that off with the proceeds. We also are going to pay off the remaining costs of the quad project. So the quad was a partnership between the campus and the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth paid $78 million of the project. The campus paid the rest. So we're right now borrowing short-term paper. We're going to pay that off. And then the last part will be to invest in the campus, which we look forward to talking with you all about in the future as we get plans in place for how we can invest in our campus master plan and the physical infrastructure here at Columbia Point. The quad. You all do need to come back during the day, because right now when it's dark, this really doesn't show the transformation that's going on in the center of our campus. This was the last project that came out of our previous master plan. So we'd done a campus master plan in 2009. Many of you may have come to even to previous sessions regarding that particular plan. And the last project in that was the substructure demolition and quadrangle development. So this was designed to really take care of some of that deferred maintenance that came from the original construction with the campus, particularly the quad and the underground parking that was there. And we'll create a vibrant center here within the middle of campus. We had one of the best things that came out of COVID, if there was anything that was a good thing that came out of COVID, was the science center that was in the middle of our campus was able to be torn down during that time period. So while nobody was on campus, we were able to demolish a major building without having to go through having it demoed with 10,000 students walking around every day. So we've demolished that. So that's been taken care of. And now we've been building. So we've refortified the substructure under Wheatley and McCormick, making sure that those buildings are going to be able to be in use for a number of decades to come. We have built a quad. We're building in the middle of the campus. The quad, it will have new elevator and stairs to the Healy Library. There's going to be outdoor programming that will be able to take place, basketball court. There's going to be a 300-pace parking lot so that we are sure that once we close down the Bayside parking lot, we'll have sufficient parking for the campus to take care of the population that comes here every day. I mentioned there's a lot of text here, just some of the things I talked about here. We also made some renovations to our Clark Athletic Building, so those of you who come see university teams, you'll see some improvements in that space. And you'll also be able to walk from the West Garage next to the Clark Building right on into the quad. So there'll be a whole new entrance to the campus as well, so you'll be able to come and enjoy the beautiful quad just straight off of University Drive. So we are almost done with this project. We are looking to finish a good part of it by the end of this month. So do come back. We will have a few trees we're going to plant at the beginning of the spring. We're still putting the grass down, and any kind of project where you grow grass, we'll have it it needs a little time to take and be able to before we fully are doing all of our activities. But we've got plenty of things ready to be able to come out and just enjoy beautiful natural space. So you'll look and see here a little bit. What a transformation compared to what was there as a concrete plaza just not that long ago. The other thing the campus has been working on in addition to the quad is really looking at deferred maintenance. This is something that we've been working on with the Commonwealth. So there's the state really has been supportive of higher education institutions and other organizations to be able to really take a look at taking care of our current buildings and how we can have them be able to be maintained moving forward into the future. So some of the things that the state's been able to help us with here on campus, the Harbor Walk. So if you've been out and about on the Harbor Walk, you will have seen the improvements that we've done here over the summer. So it's been resurfaced, so all those little bumps and everything that were there, those have been smoothed out. We put a new accessible pedestrian ramp over at the Fort Point Pavilion, so that it's accessible now. All that's been fixed, and you can really go over and take where our boats are. You can go over there, and also some new lighting along the Harbor Walk as well to create enhanced safety as well as just better experience for us all to go out and take a walk around the Harbor Walk. We also are working on campus on, we've got a big exterior door project. This building has some pretty good doors, but if you come around and frequent some of our older buildings, you'll know some of them are pretty tough shape. We're working on those. And we also have a facades project. People usually don't get excited about this except people like me who have to take care of buildings. But if you're walking around campus and you see, well, the bricks are falling off their building, what's going on there? We do have those being replaced. So we are in the process, you'll see new bricks going up, and we'll be back to have everything be nice and spiffy. Another thing we're really proud about is we've also been working under the chancellor's leadership really on some spruce up projects around campus. So these aren't things that the state's going to fund or anything. These are things the campus is doing just to make our space look better and so we feel more joy and students can come and just really enhance their overall learning experience. So we've made some focuses on some improvements in some of the lounge areas, lobby areas of the buildings, within the Clark Athletic Building, improving some of the restrooms and flooring there. Just so when people come into our buildings, that we've taken some time to spruce them up. One thing you'll see now for this year's project is we're putting new landscaping in on Van Cooley Boulevard. So if you come down the campus, we just started today, so it's got one step at a time, but we're putting all new plantings in there so that when you come down the road, it'll look so much nicer than what currently is there. We've also, to follow on some of the support we did for our students, we've renovated our one-stop student center, so our students, when they come to register for classes, want to make a change, want to have a question about financial aid, how do I pay my bill, all those kinds of things. We redid this over the summer, and so now students can come in and it's much more welcoming and efficient use for the folks who support our students there. Our veteran space, we have a large number of veteran students here at UMass Boston, so we're working on renovating and upgrading space for our veterans to come in and be able to coordinate some of the activities that they're doing. Our athletic program, you're going to see some changes, improvements in our athletic program. One is we're doing some changes with our Clark Athletic Building in our locker rooms so that our men and women's teams have some improvements in their locker rooms. We're also redoing the softball field. So I think those of you who might come out and want to watch the university for either baseball or softball, you're soon to be able to see a softball venue that will approach more of like Moden Park does for our baseball team. So we're really excited to give the women's team some additional support for their facilities. So that work, we're in design right now, so we'll be then completing that and beginning on moving into construction. And the last capital project I just want to talk about a little bit was our police department. So we have campus police. We actually have they have a new comfort dog named Beacon. So if you're around and you might see a little Labrador who is being trained right now. He's still a puppy, but he's with our police department. But our police department has space all over campus. So we have a project where we're really going to be putting everything that they do in one place so that they can work more effectively, help support the community, help support our students, and just will facilitate. And as I mentioned, even little Beacon gets his own little office. I mentioned Van Cooley median improvements. You'll see here, we're really also focusing here on sustainable landscaping. So landscaping for plants that will thrive here at Columbia Point. So we aren't putting in plants that just might look good on a piece of paper. These are things that will be able to withstand the harsh conditions and really welcome us onto campus. Calf Pasture Pump Station, I want to just touch on that for a minute. This is a project, as you know, we went out for RFP before the pandemic. Right now, this project's on hold. The market's changed. The factors just around the whole project made it necessary for us to put it on hold. So it is a project. You can see here, there's 2 parcels here, and when Dennis gets into the campus master plan, he can point it out a little bit more. So when we do move forward with this, we will be communicating that. It would be a public-private partnership, so we would be looking to partner with another partner or partners to help us really envision what the restoration of the Calf Pasture Pump Station would look like, as well as the space around that. So this is, like I said, it's on hold for right now, but once Dorchester Bay City closes and we see what's going on, how that proceeds, we'll have an opportunity to take a look at what timing might be right for this particular project. Sustainability and resiliency. I'm excited to talk about this. This is an area where UMass Boston's been making a lot of strides. So we have accomplished a lot in sustainability since the last time we had a campus update. We really have been investing in energy efficiency. We've reduced our energy usage here by 30% since 2016, even though we've opened a number of buildings. So we're not only being able to use less energy in our building, we just cut our overall usage. We've added solar arrays. We have solar power here on campus. We have a solar array up on the top of the west garage. We have some on some of our other buildings, and we're exploring how we can continue to invest in solar. We are working with other UMass campuses and really making a commitment here in sustainability to not only help support research and programming in this area, but also just walk the walk here on our own campus and be able to make some investments. We do have a process for that, so we're building this in as part of our strategic planning that the Chancellor talked about. We did a campus master plan. Part of the master plan really focuses on sustainability and having us move forward with that. We've adopted a vision of sustainability, so really making an intentional commitment where we can be able to build for a more sustainable future here at UMass Boston. And our campus master plan focuses on being able to do that. We've unveiled, in addition to the master plan, an energy and carbon master plan. So this really is our map for sustainability. We're super excited about this. So this will allow us to connect our actions with the academic mission and be able to put that in parallel with planning. It will help us meet the Commonwealth's goals for having organizations be carbon neutral by 2050. And also really just helps us be able to look at making our buildings, as we take step by step, we're making them be more efficient. So we do have the energy carbon master plan. It's on our website, so you can go out and take a look at it at at your leisure. Happy to arrange time to talk about that. You know, for if there's groups of people who might be interested in it, we can certainly set up some time to do so. One thing I thought, this was sort of a neat slide, when we talk about the energy carbon master plan, it provides us, right now we're heated here by natural gas. This just shows a way of how we can, over time, from where we are today, 100% natural gas, to really be looking at alternative energy so that by the time we get to 2050, we're no longer, you see that red natural gas is no longer there. So these kinds of things just really helping us plan not only today, but for longer term, how do we get to where we need to be? I mentioned solar. We do have solar. This is an important part of our campus plan, not only here on campus, but then also investing in solar off campus as well. We do look to not only leverage the current solar arrays we have, but then also as we build new buildings, can we add solar to that? Can we add things that are energy efficient? Sometimes people come up, well, what about windmills? We see windmills around. Can you put windmills here? We are in the flight path of Logan Airport, so the airport has a few things to tell us about what we can or can't do. So we're focusing more on solar right now. We continue to, with our sustainability, really take a look at, combining sustainability with our academics and research, helping support our faculty and staff who are involved in this space, having our operations be sustainable, and then having that help have sustainable communities. So we've got a number of areas here that we're looking at for the future. Wanted to just touch a little bit on campus accessibility and transportation options. We have the shuttle service going around from the JFK stop to the campus. We did add this year a new stop right at Mount Vernon Street and University Drive West. So if you where the MBTA, where the 8 bus comes in, we also stop our bus there. So if you come from the JFK, you can get off the bus, the shuttle bus there. That you can go right to the residence hall. You can go to Clark. You can be at this end of the campus, and then it continues on to the other stops that it's had before over here at the campus center. We've also, been matching the weekend usage so that students can go back. People come to the campus can come easily back and forth on the weekends. If you're here on campus, we also have a little Route 2 bus. It's a little tiny, like a mini bus that goes just around on the campus. But if you want to get a ride from, say, the West Garage over to the campus center, the Route 2 service also is here to serve everyone who wants to get on that, just to provide some additional ways to get around campus. We have cycling and scooters here on campus. I'm happy to talk about these for a minute. Cycling, we have blue bikes here at the campus center. There's blue bikes down on Mount Vernon Street. It's just like any other blue bike station in the city. So if you're a member of Blue Bikes, you can take your blue bike and come on over here and ride to campus. We also have a secure bike room in the West Garage to leave a bicycle there. Scooters we've had, you might see them around our students. They're a big hit with our students. These are open to anybody in the community, so everybody out here, you have an invitation. You can come out and check out the scooters if you want. Can only be used here on campus, so they are geofenced. So you can only use them. You can go up to the train station, and then you have to come back, and you can use them around campus. But they're here. There's something we actually rolled out after COVID, just another way to get around campus, and the students really like them. On the motor vehicle front, number of things here just to highlight. We do have Zipcar here, so if you remember Zipcar, you want to use Zipcar. We also have some locations here that anybody who is involved with Zipcar can use. We have EV charging stations here. Those also are open to folks. They're in the West Garage. You can come charge electric vehicles. We continue to offer the university's carpool program to try to cut down on the number of people in cars as they come to campus. And we will have the new parking lot that I mentioned that will be coming online over the winter, and that really will set us up. So when the Bayside parking lot closes, when Accordia moves forward with the Dorchester Bay City project, we'll have enough parking here on campus to be able to accommodate the folks who come to campus. Right now, we have an excess capacity. If you go around, you'll see there's empty spots at Bayside, there's empty spots at Lottie, and so this will more right-size our parking program so that we anticipate we'll have enough parking for folks who currently come here, but we'll be able to move forward with the Dorchester Bay City project as well. So I think that's a little bit about campus updates. It's a lot of information in a short period of time, but we'll have the presentation available, and certainly I'm happy to talk with anyone later on this afternoon about any questions you might have. And with that, I would like to introduce our Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Joe Sperger.
Thank you, Kathleen. Good evening. So I'm really excited to have this chance to be with you here tonight and to talk about some of the things that we're doing with academic affairs here at UMass Boston. And it's truly my honor and pleasure to serve as the provost, as the chief academic officer here at UMass Boston. And in a city that has more university students than any other, that has more colleges and universities, there's no place that I'd rather be than right here at UMass Boston. Because as the chancellor noted, our students are remarkable. And, you know, a few decades ago, I helped create something called the Inclusive Excellence Framework. And it's a framework that's used by colleges and universities all over the country. But most universities use that framework to try and to become something that we already are, right? And that's because UMass Boston, who's deeply embedded in the fabrics of the community we serve, doesn't just transform the lives of students, but the students come here and they help transform us. They help transform each other. That is very unique for a university. And so that gives me great honor and pleasure to be the chief academic officer for our incredible students and our talented faculty and staff. So as I was excited about being here, and the chancellor asked me to give a few remarks, and I said, that's great. We've got so much going on. I've got a few hours of material to cover. Now, fortunately for all of you, he said, why don't you keep that at a few minutes? So I just want to hit a few highlights. And I want to start by talking about our strategic plan for the times. As the chancellor noted, we launched this last year after a year-long process here on campus that involved more than 240 faculty members, staff members, and students on 11 different committees getting feedback from across campus and even from some of our community partners to make sure that we had a 10-year strategic plan that, one, honors the past, two, celebrates the present, but three, creates and catalyzes a better future. And in doing so, we're focused on this plan for the times because UMass Boston, that was founded in the heart of the civil rights movement, is Boston's only public research university. And it matters that we are a public university, that we are here for the city. And that those values, those principles that were at the genesis of the creation of the university remain in the present and guide our North Star for guiding our future. And so in this strategic plan, we have 5 major strategic priorities. And I'm going to talk about them very briefly in a moment, but they are first and foremost, and it's first for a reason, holistic student success. We do not exist without our learners, without our students. Second is impactful research and scholarship. We are a research university, so it matters that we conduct research, but not for the sake of conducting research. We engage in research that is impactful, whether that be pure and basic research in the sciences, whether it be applied research in the social sciences, or multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary translational research that helps us work with our community and our community partners to apply the knowledge, the cutting edge knowledge that's being created here to the real world needs of our communities. And we are a university of and for the city. We have impacts that are global, that are national, that are regional across the Commonwealth, but we have no integrity if we don't recognize our place-based home right here on Columbia Point in Dorchester in Boston, first and foremost. So that doesn't preclude us from doing all of the other incredible work around the world, but it gives us a unique and strong foundation. In the city that invented public education, we have a unique and special role and responsibility. And then enriching our human core, because at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, a university needs buildings, needs curriculum, needs an organizational structure, but it is really the people. So how we work with and invest in our people and our community matters. And finally, reimagining campus space, which you've heard a little bit about, and you're going to hear more about in a moment with our campus master plan. But how do we utilize our locational endowment here on Columbia Point in neighborhoods that are so rich in history, but also how do we extend our reach, but how do we extend the opportunities for our students who can also benefit the local communities in reimagining a campus that breaks down traditional boundaries. All right, more good news. I'm not going to go over this whole slide. But I did want to let you know that with holistic student success, we have a very detailed roadmap for how we are working to ensure that our students, whether they be undergraduates or graduate students or early college students, which I'll say more about in a moment, whether they are members of our community who are taking opportunities to enroll in micro-credentials or certificates that aren't necessarily traditional academic credit-bearing programs, we're dedicated to their success. And so that takes, if we're going to do it in a comprehensive, holistic manner, multiple pathways to success. And we want to make sure that the rich diversity of cultural and linguistic wealth, the wide range of ages and life experiences that come to our campus, have every opportunity to not just have access to us, to be here, but to succeed. And that takes an all hands on deck, and particularly given that higher education writ large, including some of the very selective, exclusive universities in this city, have not been able to do, that we are inclusive, making sure that all students have the opportunity to succeed to and through UMass Boston. And I also want to note that career success is a very important part of this. That it's not just that getting an academic degree and graduating, how does that relate with the ability of students to not just get a first job, but to have a livelihood and to impact their communities through enhanced career opportunities. So let me say just a little bit more about holistic student success. So enhancing experiential learning, and we're doing this in numerous ways. One, we're integrating academic and career advising from the very beginning. One of the things we took a look at is that many of our students weren't accessing our career services until they were seniors or very far along in their academic career. Some of our graduate students weren't necessarily accessing career services. So from the very beginning now, we're integrating academic and career advising. As part of that, we've identified 8 career communities so that we can organize what we're doing to support the academic experience with the various work sectors, employment sectors, and workforce development opportunities that exist right here in the local community and the Commonwealth. And to make sure that we're expanding the learn and earn opportunities through internships, practica, et cetera. We're very proud, as you keep hearing, of the diversity of our students, but we have great socioeconomic diversity. Matter of fact, the majority of our students are Pell eligible. And they're working to be here, not just to be students, but so many of our students are also supporting their families rather than getting supported financially by those families. And their families are making great sacrifices for them to be here. So for them to get the kind of opportunity that a student across the river might have, to get a life-changing chance to network and to engage with a potential employer while they're students, that it might be too great of an opportunity cost because they have to give up their part-time job while they're doing this. So we're making it a priority to get more of our local businesses and agencies, along with institutional resources, to invest in our students being able to learn and earn while getting these real-world practical experiences. And this also includes undergraduate research, because again, the diverse students who come to our campus deserve the opportunities to engage with world-class researchers, which is something that every student who goes to a research university must have. And then I also just want to say a few things about success pathways to and through UMass Boston, starting with early college. We are now partnering with actively this year with 3 local Boston high schools, public high schools, including BCLA McCormick, our next door neighbor, and also Fenway High School in New Mission, to offer early college where students can earn up to 30 credits while still in high school here at UMass Boston for free. This is going to give them a tremendous leg up on their access to the university, but also to make sure that higher education is affordable. Next year, we'll be expanding that to 3 more Boston public high schools, and our goal is 4 years from now, we will have 1,000 Boston public high school students enrolled in early college programs at UMass Boston. That will change the public education ecosystem in Boston. I also just want to highlight one of our new initiatives, as well as a new urban public health program. We have many public health programs in Boston already, but not public health programs that are focused on the real needs of urban communities and neighborhoods, and that are training local students to stay here in Dorchester, in Boston, to improve equitable access to better health. And then we've also created a new Office of Community and Executive Education that we're just getting started, that is going to expand the opportunities for our community to have access to micro-credentials, upskill training, and other non-traditional academic credit programs that are linked to community and workforce development. So stay tuned for more on that. Very quickly, I want to say a few things about our impactful research and scholarship. As part of our plan, we've identified 4 grand scholarly challenges. These are areas of research that UMass Boston already has great strength, but that can inform the real-world challenges that we all face and that matter to our local communities. And those include climate equity and urban coastal areas, education for the future, bridging divides in health equity from cells to society, and advancing a just society, local and global dimensions. I could go into a long list of research projects that we're doing in each of these areas that have very real impacts right here locally. So it's not just research that's going to improve the world somewhere else. It may and it will, but it has meaning and relevance right here. And that includes doing studies on a cleaner harbor, on coastal resilience and adaptation, including the first living seawall here in Boston under the auspices of our Stone Living Lab. It includes Marcelo, when he talked about Paul English's great gift to create an applied artificial intelligence institute here. This is part of education for the future. This is an equity initiative to make sure that we have some of the best researchers in this area in the world, but to make sure that our students don't fall behind as artificial intelligence changes the workforce. That we're not focusing on making a smarter, faster artificial intelligence. We're focused on making sure that our students, the workforce of the future, know how to utilize and inform ethical, responsible choices of improving our workforce and creating new jobs and new opportunities through AI, rather than succumbing to either the threats that it may bring or to letting other people have those advantages that then creates an equity gap that technological innovations so often bring. But we can close that from the beginning. And the list could go on. But this research is real and it matters. It's not just esoteric happening in a lab that nobody but other researchers will see. This is research that will have a real impact in people's lives. And so I do want to finish by saying that we really are a university of and for the city, whether it's through the education of students, new educational programs, or the research we're doing. We're preparing our students to be the future of Boston. As Marcelo noted, 82% of our students will stay local. There is no other university in the Boston region that can say that at the scale that we do, and that this will in turn support and strengthen local institutions. That is at the core of our plan. So as you can tell, I'm very excited about this, and I'm excited not just because it's going to help make UMass Boston a greater university, because it's going to strengthen our ability to be better partners in the greater Boston community. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to my good colleague and friend, our Director of Campus Planning and Sustainability, Dennis Swinford. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Welcome, neighbors. Dennis Swinford, Director of Campus Planning and Sustainability here at UMass Boston. I am going to provide a bit of a teaser tonight. I'm not going to be able to go through the plan. We are going to send you out a webinar that I'd love you all to spend some time with and send us questions back. But as a teaser, let me go through some important aspects of the campus plan. The highlights of the campus plan really begin with creating it through a transparent and inclusive process here on campus. And we look forward to continuing that process with all of you. The other piece of the campus plan that I'd like to just highlight as one of the more important things for me is the way that we are looking at creating better connectivity between our buildings, our campus, and our neighbors. The purpose of the master plan really, and the great point we had here at the campus, is to be able to do it at the same time we were doing the strategic plan. Our campus master plan fits our strategic plan directly because we did them at the same time. Another important point and the purpose of the master plan is really to articulate our aspirations as a campus and look for help and support at building our campus. As part of the process, we did a summary of space needs. We studied what we're doing on campus now and the type and amount of space we need to do what we're doing today. We have a deficit on campus today of what we're doing on campus and the space we really should be doing it in. That deficit, unfortunately, is in two very important places. One, in our teaching environments. We do not have the teaching environments that Across the River has for our students. The types, the pedagogy, the way we teach students now, the way they learn, the way they interact with each other. We do not have the classrooms that support that type of teaching. Two, we also don't have the space that encourages them to stay on campus. This is one of our most beautiful spaces on campus, highly used, loved by the students, but it's very inconsistent throughout the campus, and we're missing those types of spaces primarily in our heritage buildings. This is an illustration of our campus master plan. The dark blue here are potential new sites for buildings. The light blue highlight our heritage buildings, Healy, Wheatley, McCormick. Those buildings, built as part of the original campus, are still with us, but need severe renovation inside to help meet the needs of the future. Our campus plan, like I said earlier, has the principles that help support the strategic plan and where we want to take our campus and our students and our neighbors in the future. So, just to conclude, this is our campus today. Let me say when the campus plan is fully realized, this is what we would look like. Thank you for coming tonight. I'd like to turn the program back over to our chancellor, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kathleen, Joe, Dennis, for the wonderful presentation and for encouraging all of us to think more deeply about our challenges, our opportunities for Columbia Point, for Dorchester, for the city of Boston. Now I'm happy to open the floor for questions, comments, advice, reflections. Beautiful, Frank, thank you so much. And again, thank you for your years of service. Our students come from Boston, they come from the peninsula, they come from Dorchester. They will stay in the peninsula, they will stay in Dorchester, they will stay in Boston. Our advantage, in part, flows from our ability to connect with, to welcome through the multiplicity of initiatives the provost outlined, our reach in our local high schools, our enormous endeavors with Boston Public Schools. And let me be very direct here. Our price point is unique. We have an extraordinary locational endowment here. Extraordinary. We have a world-class faculty endeavoring their research projects on meaningful, purposive work at a price that is a very, very good deal, comparatively speaking. So I think that that's part of the story. Part of the story is an identity story. We are, as the provost said, we are off and for the city. As I said, we can take any of the universities. I've taught in some of them. And you can move them to Iowa. They'll be the same university. Not for us. There is a unique synergy that flows from our history, from our place in this peninsula, and in this city, for the neighborly ethic with which we conduct the entire research endeavor, our ability to serve students, and our ability to retain students. So that's very, very special. Very few universities can say their graduates will be the neocortex, the lungs, the heart of the city. We can say that at UMass Boston. I taught across the river. And let me tell you, I'm thinking 90% of my students will end up in 3 places. Lower Manhattan, mostly at Goldman Sachs. The west side of Los Angeles and Silicon Valley. And great, that's great. It does nothing for our city when you think in terms of the long run. So I hope that, Frank, answers your question. Dennis, you wanna address the second part of the question?
The timing of the master plan is really based on the availability of resources. And however, a guide point is we accomplished about the same amount of building and change from our last master plan in 30 years. So this is about a 30-year chunk. We look forward to having the resources to realize it, but really that's the guiding factor, is being able to have the money.
Those buildings that we saw, the navy blue, the blue ones.
No. No, I think, I know that our priority is in the light blue. It is renovating our existing buildings and really putting some love back into our heritage buildings. That's the campus's priority. It's one of the things we heard over and over again. We may need a dark blue just to help us implement the light blue. We need swing space. You need a place to put people when you're working in the buildings. So there may be a little bit of light blue, a little bit of dark blue, but then a lot of light blue in the near term.
Des Rohan, I live across the street pretty much. Just curious if you could talk about your student growth. What do you have for students on campus now, and then maybe 5 years, what that looks like, and how you plan to accommodate that through some of these strategic plans?
Thank you. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts and really the Eastern Seaboard, all of the New England states, are facing enormous demographic challenges now and moving forward. We're a rapidly aging population, below replacement fertility rate, and a very defined set where the growth to our Commonwealth is coming from. This is called by demographers the demographic cliff. This is what we're facing as a city and as a Commonwealth. As I've noted earlier, the only sector of our population growing now are kids growing up in immigrant families of color. 80% of the growth. I did an op-ed in the Boston Globe on this topic. We looked at the most recent census data. All of the growth, meaningful growth for us, is going to come from our immigrant origin populations, with the Asian American, the Latino origin population, Latina and Latina origin population, and our African American population. A third of all blacks in the city of Boston now are immigrants. So while colleges and universities are very seriously preparing for the cliff that is coming demographically speaking, we have been able to maintain a stasis. We're not growing enormously, but we're not shrinking either. What we're doing is complexifying the sources of the students we serve. We continue to serve the largest number of BPS graduates. We're the go-to for our local Boston public schools. At the same time, I am blessed with an extraordinary enrollment management team. And we're moving the needle. We're moving the needle in out of state. Boston has an enormous locational endowment. As the provost said, this is the city that invented the idea of public education first emerged in the neural pathways of a Bostonian, the great Horace Mann. First universities, first so many You know the story. That locational endowment has enormous appeal. Out of state, international. We are seeing very significant engagement from, especially for our master's programs, from international students. Word is out. You can come to Boston. You can come to Boston's only public research university. You can get a world-class education, and you're not going to go bankrupt, and you're going to have amazing job opportunities down the road. So a stasis in terms of the numbers of students, we are not now marginally will grow certain domains where we believe we can add value, but we don't have an initiative to double the number of students or triple the number of students at this point.
I'm Don Walsh. I live right across the street, Savin Hill. I'm a member of the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association. I have a request, a very specific request that I thought about before I came here, but I listened to you and your team, and I'm really impressed with what you're doing and what you've done and what you want to do in the future. I have one more thing for you to do. As a civic association, what we've done over the last several years is we've very simply added up all of the development that's going on, that's being planned, recently constructed in and around the Columbia Savin Hill neighborhood, which basically goes from Uppins Corner to South Bay to the McCormick Housing Project right over here, Columbia Point down to Freeport Street. 10,000 housing units. That's 22,000 new neighbors in our area and 7 million square feet of commercial space. I'll say that's 30,000 commuters. I don't know the exact number about that, but it's huge. And the thing that is very, very frustrating and disappointing to us is that the city of Boston and the state refuses to deal with the 10,000 and the 7 million. They are still dealing project by project. So they're dealing with Dorchester Bay City individually. They're dealing with Center Court, which is across Morrissey Boulevard. They're dealing with the McCormick Project, 1,300 units of new housing there. But they're not taking the comprehensive look and saying that, hey, literally, we are all going to be stuck in the same traffic jams going forward. You, your faculty, your students, my neighbors, the other businesses and the developers, we're all going to be stuck in the same mess if we don't get our act together, organize ourselves, which means the community groups as well as the institution and the businesses, and make sure that the city and the state understand that we got to do something special. 10,000 and 7 million is absolutely huge numbers, and they are not being addressed. So let me ask you very specifically, will you take the lead in organizing us? Would you pull the Peninsula partners together with the other civic associations and et cetera, bring it together so we have a very strong showing going before our elected officials and government officials, saying, we have to do something special in order to make 10,000 and 7 million work. Simple request.
Thank you. Duly noted. My main responsibility is UMass Boston. That's my main responsibility. I live a life guided by the idea of a neighborly ethic. What's good for UMass Boston, I believe, is good for the peninsula. I believe is good for the city of Boston. And all of the issues that you mentioned are issues that we, day in and day out, live with. I don't have the kind of authority. I don't have the magic wand. But my word to you today is that my bet and my commitment is to the development of a sustainable humanity, which includes all of the domains that are central to what you've just outlined. I mean, I lived in the city of Los Angeles. I thought, I'm never dealing with the 405 or the 101. I mean, if you know LA, you know what that means. Those are the impossible highways. It would take me an hour to get to downtown LA from my campus. 10 miles, an hour. Insane. I thought I left all of this behind. When I came to Boston, COVID, no traffic. I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. Now we know that was a parenthesis. But our commitment is to develop, and I will continue to work with the mayor. I will continue to work with the governor on making sustainability a lived reality for the betterment of all the citizens of the peninsula. I am very mindful of the limits of my power. The provost knows. I can't get the deans to do what they have to do.
My name is Sister Joyce McMullen. I've worked in the community for over 50 years. And the issues that I would like to raise has been traffic. It was brought up tonight. And the second thing is affordable housing. People can come to the university, get a job, and not be able to live in the city because of the cost of rents and or a condo. So if people are going to continue to live in the city, traffic and affordable housing, from my perspective, need to be addressed. And I do agree that we have to do it as a coalition, not as individual communities. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister.
Hi, folks. My name's Jim Cassetta, and I'm a neighbor. When you mention Peninsula, we are your neighbors. Work Inc. is the largest employer of folks with disabilities in New England. We manage the JFK Library. We manage the Edward M. Kennedy Center. We want to manage UMass. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and we want to get more involved. We have 700 employees, majority minority staff. I haven't done the numbers, but we have hundreds of UMass graduates. We love them. And I know we have several projects going on. We got academics, and we got Institute for Community Inclusion. But everything everybody's mentioned here, it's about workforce. Not everybody who graduates college gets a job. Our folks don't have the opportunity to go to college, but we have hundreds of people who want to work. So whatever we can do together, I'd cherish that.
Beautiful.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job tonight.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for the work. That's beautiful work. And I'm, my other job is board of directors of both the MK and the library, and I'm so proud of the extraordinary endeavors. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So the answer is absolutely. And let me just highlight 4 possible ways. Right. One is that as we've been identifying, so part of it is career communities that I've talked about. And actually, we want as many partners as possible. And we want our students not just to be, working in, downtown in the finance sector, but we know how important community agencies are, how important nonprofits are, how important, so many of our partners or potential partners are. But we also want our students to have the full range of choices. So part of it is through our career services, and we can talk more about that. Secondly, a lot of our academic programs are always looking for opportunities for our students then to have meaningful experiences. So for example, our Sport Leadership and Administration program, which is relatively new, one of our fastest growing majors, but they want all of their students to have a series of opportunities to work with youth. And so there's real opportunities there. Third, we're creating, as I said, this new Office of Community and Executive Education, where we're looking to partner, right, with local agencies for a whole host of training and educational opportunities that aren't traditional academics. And then finally, we're really working on plans right now with our, we're already doing some work in Endeavor and BCLA McCormick, but how to create more wraparound services where the university's partnering with BPS and the local schools, but that also means community partners, right? Because we can't do it, by ourselves. And if we're really going to provide the kind of, again, impactful work in those schools, it means we also need to work with and take advantage of the wealth of knowledge and the type of expertise that exists in the community that doesn't necessarily exist on the university. So those are just 4 different ways, that I think that we could have opportunities to partner, with you and perhaps with others as well.
We're on a tight deadline. I promised I'd get you guys out of here by 8:30, so
We have time for one question, maybe one more question.
Hi, sorry, I just have a comment. I'm actually just here wearing many hats. I'm a Boston native resident, grew up here all my life, and one of the students, immigrant, first-generation family, came here, for better education, better life, all of that. I've worked in higher ed for a long time. I'm also now starting my own business here and looking for opportunities as a Black-owned, woman-owned business in the Boston area, looking to connect with universities to offer internships. I'm also on the board of Mattapan Square Main Streets, looking for board development opportunities for our board and different things like that. So looking for ways to partner and just coming to these community meetings, I feel is a great way to be able to do that and to be able to have those opportunities. So thank you for hosting something like this. But yeah, I think it's great as someone who's grown up here to be able to have the opportunity to connect and find those resources to build your own business, to sustain yourself here, to be able to live and work here and raise a family here, which is challenging at times. And so, I think the more we can connect with people to give those opportunities, because I believe, it's hard. Even as someone who's been here all my life, finding and navigating these opportunities are challenging at times. And a lot of people don't know about the things that go on here from time to time. So I just think ways, figuring out who are the people, because a lot of times I see the same people all the time at the same things, and they all know about the same thing all the time, but the people who don't know are the ones who just don't know and never know. So I think just being able to be more mindful or meaningful how we're reaching out and who we're reaching out to is very important. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for all you do, for your alma mater, for our peninsula, for the great city. Thank you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. My colleagues here, myself, are here to serve, are here to answer any questions, any additional information. As the Vice Chancellor noted, please come back during the day, have a look, have a look at the new green space, the new quad, and remain with us in this journey. I'm so grateful. Mi casa es su casa. UMass Boston es su casa. Muchas gracias.